So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talks 282nd episode. In the last 281 episodes, we have talked to, interacted with more than 7,000 school leaders on this very platform where they've shared their ideas, opinions, innovation, and what all new are they doing in the education space. So today we have an amazing lineup of guests who will be talking about a very interesting topic which not only encapsulates the emotion of a parent, it also grabs all the attention of a teenager, of a school leader, of a teacher, because when we look at the employment landscape across the globe, what we are right now seeing is something which is unpredictable. We are seeing a lot of vulnerability. And at this moment, when we have to commit to a university degree, how does that make us feel? And most importantly, when university education is becoming expensive by the hour, not by the day, it's becoming expensive by the hour because universities now charge an exorbitant amount of fee to teach a student some of the most basic skills. I'm not talking about very detailed doctoral or postdoctoral programs. Even for undergraduates, the fee is skyrocketing. So what do the school leaders feel about it? What do teenagers feel about it? The idea of this whole conversation is to simply figure out, is it the right time to enroll yourself into a superbly expensive course and get an amazing degree? Or is it the time to get into internships? Is it the time to do short duration courses, better skill yourself? Or what should be the plan that we execute? We have amazing people today who will be sharing their thoughts. Before we start the session, everyone who's there on the call, if you want to ask anything to any of the speakers, you can put those questions in the chat to me. I'll try to filter them and send it out to the speakers if they wish to respond during the open floor. Initially, we'll take their remarks and then we'll go into an open floor during today's web talk. So everyone, a very warm welcome once again to the 282nd episode of the Blub World Web Talks. We'll be talking about degree versus portfolio. What do we right now need? Do we need more degrees? Do we need more prepared portfolios? And why do employers ghost fresh graduates? Why is hiring changing its course? What's happening in the employment scenario? So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Let me invite the first speaker for today to initiate the conversation. A very warm welcome to Dr. Abhishek Sharma, the Principal Advisor for MD and Edify Education from Hyderabad, Telangana, India. Dr. Abhishek, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone, and greetings of the day. Today's topic is a wonderful topic, and it has drawn my attention actually because this is something which is a wonderful topic nowadays in education sector. We are actually talking about this topic. So when we talk about students, they spend basically 3 to 4 years earning a degree, applies to 50 or 70 or hundreds of jobs and finally gets no response. Is it rejection? I don't think so. It's rejection basically. So, welcome to 2026, where silence from employers is just a new normal saying no. The real question is not about degree versus portfolio. The real question is all about your proofs and promises that you have done in your degree. There is a shifting, there is a huge shift in hiring mindset. Basically, employers are no longer impressed by what you have studied. They are basically focusing on what actually you can do, what benefit you can bring to their institution. Degrees are just potentials. Portfolios basically demonstrates performance. So hiring is basically today's hirers are not basically looking for just degrees. They are also looking for the additional projects that you have done. When we are talking about employers, whether they are ghosting, so I would definitely say here that everyone has a degree. It is no longer making any difference. A BTech, BBA, BA is now just the baseline, not the advantage. So getting degree is not the advantage. Now, what basically is important? Industry moves very faster than university curriculums. This is something which a challenge I have found that most of the universities, they are still running the old courses, and more the industries, they are requiring people, those who are abreast with the latest technologies, latest research, latest projects, and they can solve the real life problems. So, what basically, is missing in their, portfolio is, the projects that they do. I would say here that, along with the degrees, they should be doing the additional certificates. And it's not only about the certificates. They need to keep the proof and evidences in the form of portfolio. In our, Edify system, what we basically do that we ask all the teachers to create the portfolios so that they can prove that yes, we have really learned. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhishek, for this starting. And yes, you're right. It's not only ghosting; it's a silent rejection. But the challenge that brings this topic to the fore is the return on investment. When we used to invest so heavily on a university degree, that university degree and the knowledge we gained had a shelf life of at least 30 to 40 years. It typically took you through your life, you had a career. But the problem right now is the shelf life of any form of professional education is not even 6 months. That's something that not I am saying, but the World Economic Forum is saying. So, are you ready to invest so much time, so much money into something that won't even give you longevity of 6 months? What is it that we are looking at? How do we decide? Because the purpose of asking this question to school leaders is because if you don't demystify, or rather give clarity on this specific thing to your students, their life could really become hell. So think on these lines and let's hear the more speakers. Thank you so much, Abhishek ji, for the start. The next speaker for today, a very warm welcome to Miss Andrea Mwalula, the founder of Twende Education for All from Pamoja Learning Hub from Lusaka, Zambia. Miss Andrea, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thanks a lot, and hi, everyone. I'm going to be radical here, okay? Because as a school leader, consultant, and doing a lot of work in schools in Asia, Europe, and Africa, it is time that we stood up and used our voices to transform the educational systems and the kinds of curricula that we're bringing and implementing in our schools. We're not preparing our students for a successful future. The world is changing rapidly, yet our educational system has stayed in the 18th century. Kudos to the schools that have adopted and implemented the IB program that is inquiry-based, it's transdisciplinary, it allows for student agency, an independent exploration of different concepts that students can make connections with. But that's just a dot in the ocean. The majority of the schools, and I'll talk about schools in Africa, in developing countries, because I do a lot of work with schools like that and also teachers as well. We need to transform that platform where we embrace who we are, our culture, where we come from, our beliefs and traditions and indigenous knowledge systems, and enable the students to have a platform where they do have a voice. So for me, the skills are really, really important. Yes, you can have a degree, but what do you do with that degree afterwards, right? So immersing students and enabling them to develop thinking skills, research skills, self-management skills as well, right? Social skills, communication skills. Those are the skills that the world needs today. And, I'll use myself as an example. I went to university, got my degree, my major was psychology, did my master's, educational leadership. Yes, there is some of the things that I use, but the majority of the things were on the job training, trial and error. Our students need to be encouraged and supported. They need to realize that making mistakes is part of learning. A lot of our parents, too, their mindsets of, so what grade did you get? A B or a C is not good enough. It's an A plus or whatever. Distinction. Well, why?
Andrea, the first 2.5 minutes were over, but we'll come back to you in the open floor. Initially, we take the statements for 2 to 2.5 minutes, and then we go into detail in the second half of the conversation. But thank you so much. You're very right. The perception around how you look at higher education is changing not only across students, across parents, across employers. It's simply the economics around it. Countries are not trusting each other, and you want organizations to trust your institution's prestige and hire you, take responsibility of you, and then if you're not able to perform for the organization, they are in a fix. So the problem is valid. The challenge, what we see, has multiple stakeholders satisfied that yes, this is an impasse. You'll be astonished to know that globally, less than 40% of organizations now look at university GPAs. 60% of employers globally are literally looking at what you can do for them rather what you have done in your higher education. Now, this is a very stark number to look at because this has changed just in the last 5 to 6 years. It's not a very long span, and the change is dramatic. So we really have to, think on how are we instructing the next generation to look at higher education and then at employment. Thank you so much, Ms. Andrea. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Ms. Cornelia Agbemenya, the principal of WASSCE Ghana Christian International High School from Accra, Ghana. Ms. Cornelia, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. The WASS, you see what is WASI. It's a type of curriculum we do in addition to the Cambridge curriculum. That's for the West African students. So thank you so much for the opportunity. When I received the topic, I was wondering, a degree versus portfolio. In my opinion, I don't see any clashes between the degree and the portfolio. I rather feel that the degree and the portfolio are twins, in that they work hand in hand, they complement each other. These days, sometimes you sit on interviews, and then after maybe spending hours and then interviewing people, or maybe teachers for that, people who are vying for positions to teach, you realize that there is something that is missing, especially those fresh from university. And so you see that sometimes some of them are not able to prove to you that when you put the job in their hands, they can be able to think on their feet, they can be able to solve problems and all that. So with this topic, what comes to mind is that I believe that the employers are ghosting university graduates these days because they are tired of employing people who have just the potentials, but they don't have the proof. You understand me? And so this is a very crucial topic for us as school leaders, as educators and all that. What I believe is that after we have given them the education, after they have the academic credentials and all that, the degrees and all that, they should be able to prove when they go outside that they have actually learned something. And so that is when the soft skills and whatnot will come to play. I believe that we have to start early with our students, right from junior school, secondary school, before even the university. They should be taught soft skills, how to be able to function when they get to the job market. And so that is what I will say for now. We need to start early. We need to start early. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cornelia. And yes, they are twins. At the essence of it, the degree and the portfolio, they are twins. But the problem that really, makes this whole situation a little more complex is the economics around it. The university degree is becoming more and more expensive, and its utility is depleting by every day. So then these twins typically, come in very different shapes and forms, and we cannot call them twins at this moment. We will have to weigh it out that what should we be putting our efforts towards? Because most of the employers now look for proof of work. But how can you present a proof of work when you're a fresh graduate? It's a chicken and egg scenario. What do you do? How do you find employment? Where do you find space for yourself when you've already spent a very big amount of money in getting that certification or that degree from a university? That's where the situation becomes more complex. But yes, you're very right. They are absolute twins if we look at the general perception around it. Thank you so much, Ms. Cornelia. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Julius O. Babalola, the principal of Little Sprout School from Abuja, Nigeria. Mr. Julius, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
To everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I want to quickly state that it's important to note that creating a portfolio is very important. Degree is good, but every student must have this understanding that they must go beyond just having a degree and creating a portfolio for themselves. Now, I want to concur with one of the speakers that spoke earlier. That one of the challenges that we are facing in the world is the challenge of a world that is fast changing, faster than any classroom could cope with. The school curriculum, no matter how good the school curriculum is designed, is not able to keep up with the fast pace of changes that we are having in our world. Technology is evolving, jobs are evolving, skills are evolving. And it is pertinent now that our students also must evolve by creating a skill-based curriculum. I want to mention at this point something that the Ministry of Education in Nigeria is doing at this very moment. Having this understanding that skills, experiences are far outweigh certificates. They began introducing, even from the lower high school, they began introducing skills such as GSM repairs and all of that. Now, all of these will add up to the experience of the child, which makes the child a better player. For instance, if two people appear suddenly asking for a job, one has a degree and the other has a real project that he or she has done. Now, let me ask, which one of them would you offer a job? The future that we're in now actually is for those who only did not pass exam, but people who have as well create solution to problem. Oh, sorry, my time is up. People who have created values and people who are showcasing their work. Thank you.
Absolutely. When we ourselves look at people around us, when we go into hiring, when we go for looking out for people, are we looking for those credentials, or are we looking for people who have proven what they can do? Are they problem solvers? Can they change the things around them? Can they take initiative? Are they proactive, or are they people who are self-motivated or not? So when we want all of these, credentials in a student, they might not be proved by a mere degree. Because, if you look at 50 years in the past, a university degree was basically considered a proof that, yes, you are somebody who could steadily work on a specific subject and get a degree. But that has now changed dramatically. Because with the kind of tools that are available to us, the kind of content that's available to us, a degree no more proves that, you have been too consistent and you're too amazing at it. We still need it for, I don't know what we'll try to figure out during this conversation, because as an employer, what I see right now, I have never seen any degree of any of my employees in the last 5 years. I haven't done it. I don't know why people do it. We'll figure out in the conversation as we move forward. So now, just to make the conversation a little more lighter, let me go to a teenager and then back to an adult. So let's have the first teen speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Miss Arya Chaudhary, who's a grade 8 student from Allen House Public School from Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh, India. Arya, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Today, I, Arya, stands before you to speak on a topic that is shaping the future of career: degree versus portfolio. From decades, we were told one simple formula: go to school, earn a degree, and you will get a good job. But in 2026, the formula is no longer enough. A degree shows that a student had spent years studying theories, passing exams, and meeting academic requirements. But the real question employers are asking today is, can you actually do the job? This is where portfolio comes in. A portfolio is a proof of real work, projects, designs, coding applications, that shows practical skills in action. Unlike a degree, a portfolio answers the employer's best concern. What value can you bring from day one? The reason many graduates were being ghosting is not because they lack intelligence or effort. It's because there's a growing gap between what universities teach and what industries need. Technology is evolving rapidly, skills become outdated quickly, and companies no longer have the time or resource to train candidates from scratch. AI is replacing routines, entry level tasks, the need of jobs refresh graduates used to rely on. This means companies are now looking for individuals who can think critically, solve problems, and adapt quickly. So, does this mean degrees are useless? Absolutely not. A degree still proves foundational knowledge, discipline, and credibility. But on its own, it's no longer enough. To succeed in 2026 and beyond, students must go beyond textbooks because, in the end, employers are not just hiring qualification, they are hiring capabilities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arya. And yes, the formula typically broke. That's what happened in 2026. Go to a good school, get an amazing degree, get a high paying job. That's something that's not happening. That's where the formula broke. And when that broke, the perception broke. Because one challenge that comes from the employer's end is this: if they hire you as a fresher, if they invest all the money in you to train you and take you up to a certain level where you can deliver, that's the moment when you switch. You're no longer an employee for a very long duration. Every relationship, at least professional relationships, have become too transactional. It's just a give and take that's happening. Now, since there's no connection, nobody wants to trust each other. They want to verify everything. So when we don't want to trust, that's why we don't trust degrees. We verify those portfolios and then hire you so that we know that, okay, from day one, this is the value that an employer will get from a human. We don't know whether this is the right thing or not. Let's try to see what other people have to say about this. Let's go back to adults on the conversation. Welcome to Mrs. Nusrat Khan, the principal of SP Newton Academy from Mumbai, Maharashtra, India. Mrs. Nusrat, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the world for giving me the second opportunity to be a part of the lovely webinar and the parliament that you host online. The degrees that we have selected for this session, degrees versus portfolio, and why hosting university graduates, is a very provocative statement. But actually, if you go to see, it's reflecting the real structural shift, which Darsha, you said, it's affecting the hiring process. You smile and you say, I mean, in the past 2 years, I've never seen anybody's degree for hiring. And that takes me to the question of education. And you asked us to put our perspective from the point of view of education and institutions runners. There was a time, when we pursued a degree, keeping in mind that would procure us an absolutely perfect job. But when today we know that there is a rapid transformation happening in every sphere of life, and what children are learning today may not be in the market 10 years down the line. How do we train the children? What kind of education do we provide to the students so that with changing the speed of change that is happening today did not get or become redundant? That's the challenge that education is facing today. And I go back to the second speaker, and I like to suggest to all the education systems to go through the changes that some of the boards are making. I run an ICSE and IVCT school called SP Newton Academy in Mumbai. And when we wanted to start a 11th and 12th program, we dive deeper into what kind of board or education that can be offered. And what came to our mind is today it's not about education. Education is available at the tip of a button. What is important is skill development. Because if you develop the proper skill in the child, of course, the child will be absorbed in the market. So by enhancing skills in the literacy skill, as well as social skills, communication skills, creative skills, critical thinking skills, I think that will help him or her get better jobs in the society rather than just imparting knowledge, which is readily available. And that is the need of the hour, not just knowledge, but a knowledge along with the skill set that will help you. And let me tell you, I have a 17-year-old who's going to leave after 12th grade and not pursue higher education, but who's going to only get into work. So that's your answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nusrat. And I think with the concluding remark, you made it clear that when you can take a decision for your own family like this, that I don't want to put them into a regular degree and, let them directly start work or start doing stuff. This is a proof in itself. It tells you how quickly the relevance of a degree is depleting. Because the degree was supposed to give employment, which it is not able to do at the moment. The shelf life of a degree is depleting every second. So let's go to the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Ms. Patricia Ade, the head of school from Eden Plus Education from Accra, Ghana. Ms. Patricia, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
I'd like to say that today's economy is skill driven, as we were hearing from the other speakers. Is no longer theory. But I do not want to agree with the fact that the relevance of degree education is becoming less and less important. It is very, very needed. I think what we have to do is to embed theory with skills. We have to build skills in whatever we're teaching our students, wherever level that we are. If you are lucky to be in a Cambridge school or an IB school, then you have some level of skill building. But if you are not, I think you have to be intentional about building your portfolio. So you have to build your own portfolio. Another issue we are having with employees being ghosted is because they do not know how to couch their portfolios. Some of them have the skills, but how do they prove to employers that I have this, I have done this before, and I can prove it? So someone comes to you and you ask them what they've done. When they were doing national service, they had great initiatives. They were hustling by themselves, but they do not know how to prove to employers. So I think that we also have to teach them to be intentional about documenting whatever skill they have gathered over the years. So whatever you have done, whether it's a side hustle, whether you are taking initiative at work, at home, in school, you are leading, whatever it is you are doing, document it and let it show in your CV so that you are able to prove to the employer that you have built to some extent skills. Otherwise, everyone is going to be ghosting you. You have a lot of people competing for the same position. So I think we have to be intentional about teaching people how to couch the portfolios, whatever it is they have done, put it together, and to also help them to start building their skill level from school. Even in the past, it wasn't that schools were building these skills. People were still taking the initiatives. So we have to teach them how to take the initiative, volunteer, intern at work, go the extra mile in whatever they are doing and document this. Let everybody see it. Even if you want a promotion, all of this is what will speak for you at the workplace. So I think that we have to teach people how to be intentional about building their portfolio, identify that they are building skills and not just gathering theory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The portfolio is becoming critical by the hour. And yes, we all need to teach every single student, build your portfolio, show your proof of work. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Kevin Schooling, the principal of JCPS from Louisville, Kentucky, USA. Mr. Kevin, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Series of ghosting students is very interesting. 61% of job seekers are reporting post-interview ghosting in early 2025. And I agree with you that, a university degree is hard to achieve for a lot of students. And due to the understaffing of many recruiting firms and teams, there's a lack of capacity to respond to every candidate. So there's thousands of applicants that are applying for one position. And so I'm trying to deliver the good news for students that just hang in there. But reluctance to bad news, just remember, don't fear the discomfort of any rejection of an employer. They still like you. They still maybe want to see you and loop back around, and they'll seek you. And 78% of job seekers have ghosted employers as well. So it goes both ways. So don't get discouraged is the big thing, but wait and see the strategy and how to handle being ghosted. Don't take it personally. Don't take it like it's something against you, but follow up professionally track your applications. If you send something out there, a resume or an application, don't get discouraged and say, I'm concerned. I want, after multiple rounds, to be followed up on. And basically the market is tough. Unemployment for underage between 22 and 27 has risen slightly. But protect your energy. Don't waste emotional energy on companies that don't respect your time. Okay? Make sure you focus on what you control, your resume. Put your resume out there, make it the best and the sharpest you can. Talk to counselors about your resume, upskill your skill development and your interview preparation. And I really advise you to do some LinkedIn coursework as well, and talk to your college counselor, talk to your high school counselor, talk to these various people to build your confidence. Because I think, the companies out there need you. They need students, they need engineers, they need doctors. So don't give up. Just go ahead and stay positive and stay encouraged that they will call you. That call is one step away. So hopefully it's better than our video today, but I appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kevin. And yes, you gave a pep talk to all the teenagers on the call that yes, don't feel bad when you're being ghosted, because every single millionaire or billionaire that you see around you is the one who handled the maximum rejection. You can be either respected or you can be successful. So if you're really ready to handle so many rejections and still keep your spirit high, keep working on your skills, keep working on your, portfolio, you might get into a good job. But you have to remember, persistence with proof. If you don't have proof of your work, you will face challenges. So let me now go back to a teenager before I invite an adult next. A very warm welcome to Miss Tamanna Bansal, who's a grade 8 student from Sun City School, Gurugram, Haryana, India. Tamanna, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Namaste everyone, I am Tamanna Bansal from Sun City School 3070 Gurugram, India, and a member of Parliament of the 5th World Teen Parliament. The more you learn, the more you earn, by Warren Buffett. Let me begin with a simple analogy. A driving license is not proof of how well you can drive. Similarly, a degree is not always proof of how well you can perform in the real world. Today, employers are shifting from credentials to capabilities, and that's why many graduates feel ghosted. I recently spoke to professionals across various fields to understand this shift. A chartered accountant with 20 years of experience told me something very important. In highly regulated professions, degrees still hold immense value. They are the gateway. Without them, you don't even enter the room. But when I spoke to a small-scale manufacturing employer, the perspective completely changed. For ground-level roles and even supervisory positions, skills and practical know-how outweighed formal degrees. Then came the voice of Gen Z. One graduate from a top-tier university shared how his internship portfolio helped him secure a position in one of the big fours. Not just his degree, but what he did during it. On the other hand, another graduate from a regular college struggled, not because she lacked intelligence, but because she lacked practical exposure. Her degree spoke, but her portfolio was silent. Even a design professional highlighted this balance perfectly. Degrees may open doors, but portfolios walk you to them. The national education policy is also recognizing this gap. With internships, experiential learning, and skill-based modules, education is slowly evolving from theoretical knowledge to applied competence. The university you attend, the environment you live in, and the exposure you receive, they all shape your thinking, discipline, and opportunities. So, here's my conclusion. A degree is your entry ticket. A portfolio is your proof of work. Your degree may get you the first step on the ladder, but it's your portfolio and skills that decide how high you climb. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamanna. And yes, for professional fields where you need certification from institutions, if you're a doctor, if you're an engineer, if you're a chartered accountant, for them it's a gatekeeper. So everyone who's not getting into such a field should stay away from degrees, or should they rather be questioning the credential at every point? that why am I paying so much for a degree which is actually not a gatekeeper into a professional field? We have to judge every university degree a little more deeply than rather just enrolling because we are supposed to do it. If you're not getting into something where that degree is, intrinsic to your entry into the profession, question it. Thank you so much, Tamanna. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Swami Nathan Kannan, the principal of Delhi Public International School from Kampala, Uganda. Mr. Swami, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Good evening to everyone. The topic is good, degree versus portfolio. My views are a bit different. Don't create your portfolio after completing your degree or during your degree course. You should start creating your portfolio during your school days itself. That is how the school education should be focused more. If you see even the current changes made in the CBSE board or in the education system in India, based on the new education policy, the shift is focusing towards competency-based education and overall development of skill education. In addition to the academics, we should also focus on skill subjects during the middle school and also during the higher classes. And the students should start grooming their skills from the middle school, identify the skills in which they are more stronger, and continue their grooming in the universities. Instead of going for fashionable degrees, which will earn them some profession, identify your skill, select the course according to your skill, keep on creating and keep on increasing or developing your portfolio. Obviously, the job or the future will be on your doors. You need not search for it. Keep on developing your skill right from the school, not from the university or the colleges. It is only the pathway, we can say. It is coming in the middle. Don't give too much importance only for the universities or for the college. Right from your schooling, the importance should be given for grooming the skills. Automatically, you will be developing your portfolio, whether you do it intentionally or not. Side by side, your portfolio will be created automatically. One day, if you sit and collect all the things together, you will be having a strong portfolio. If you see the employers who is there now, they are not the toppers. Some of the employers may be the toppers, but all others, if you see, they are the average learners, or we can say they are 80% scorers in the school education. But if you see, they are the ones who are ruling this world because they didn't go on only with education. In addition to education, they gathered a lot of skills. Let it be the communication skill or leadership skill or task management or problem solving, all these skills they developed. So based on that portfolio, they have become as the employers. So my advice will be don't create or don't start to create your portfolio after doing your degree course or somewhere. Start from your school days. From your middle school onwards, you have to start creating your portfolio. Definitely, that portfolio will automatically bring you a bright future. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Swaminathan. And I think this is where I strongly concur that everyone should start building their portfolio from your teen years itself. You should get into a habit of doing actual things than just having an opinion about things. You're consuming so much of content on social media. You think, yes, I have achieved this because I know this. Knowing this does not show that you can do this. Start doing stuff and start collecting proofs that, yes, I have accomplished these sets of things and I own these skills at the point when I'm getting into an undergraduate program. You're very right. The journey of portfolio now does not begin from university. It rather begins from your teenage. And why we, believed in it, we experimented this at the World Teen Parliament. We run the world's only elected parliament of teenagers where we have teens from more than 50 countries. We are the only institution where every month members of parliament of multiple countries interact with these teenagers. They give them an opportunity to share ideas, policy suggestions. This was exactly the purpose. The self-realization of building your own portfolio has to come from the teenager. It cannot be instructed. They can only be taken through a journey of realization where they say that, yes, I want to do it. Because if you instruct them, you get a rebellion. If you assist them, they might do it. So let's listen to a teenager next before we go into the open floor. Over to the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Miss Vaiga Hari, a grade 12 student from Indian School, Al Gubra, Muscat, Oman. Miss Vaiga, over to you for the next 2 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Greetings of the day, one and all. As time races on with technology at its heels, it's crucial for employers and employees to quickly evolve and adapt, just to keep their heads above water under the pressure of ever-strengthening competition from both humans and AI alike. For decades, university degrees were considered the golden ticket to a successful start in life. But bookish knowledge is slowly becoming a secondary need. A portfolio, on the other hand, shows how sensibly a person can apply years of academic consistency and discipline under real scenarios, meeting the growing demand of the job market for valuable skill sets and problem solving ability. Imagine graduating from Harvard University holding one of the most respected degrees in the world and still being ignored by employers. In 2026, that is no longer surprising because the job market is evolving faster than education itself. Curriculums across the world are quickly becoming outdated as industries move forward hastily. Employers are now hiding proof over potential, not only because they want immediate productivity from day one, but because AI is taking over more roles under the facade of greater efficiency. At the same time, countless graduates hold the same degree, the same potential. When excellence becomes common, proof becomes the deciding factor. This is exactly what employers now focus on. Did you lead? Did you create? Did you solve? Did you adapt? These questions now hold more value than years invested in studying a subject. Undoubtedly, degrees remain important because a portfolio without knowledge does not impress either. But the world no longer rewards invisible knowledge alone. This is pushing many graduates to desperate measures like strengthening their CVs using AI. In 2026, the world is not asking who studied the longest, it is asking who can contribute the fastest and whether you can keep up with its pace mentally, technically, and financially. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vaiga Hari. And I think you summarized the whole session in your conversation that yes, the employers are looking at it in a very different way because right now, the human race is going through something very different that it has experienced in its existence of nearly more than 1.5 lakh years. Most of basic knowledge that we needed, we now have it. The average life expectancy of an Homo sapien was typically 30 years. And now it's nearly 80 years. So a lot of work has been done. Look around you. When did you last celebrate a poet as a society? When did you last celebrate somebody who gave you, wisdom? When did you last celebrate a scientist whose invention did not make a lot of money? Since as a society, we started celebrating money and financial success, everything else took the back seat. And when it took the back seat, degrees lost relevance. And that's why when it's a professional entry barrier, a degree is required. But in other scenarios, it becomes optional. So think on these lines that is it an anthropological change that has made degrees irrelevant? Is it a professional change? It is a technological change. Why is it happening? So we've listened to all the speakers today. Now it's an open floor. If you want to add something, if you were not able to say something, if you got muted, you can just raise your hand and I can invite you next. And we'll be, taking at least 4 or 5 people for their thoughts. If they want to add something before the session concludes, you can just raise your hand and I'll invite you next. Nuzhat ma'am, over to you for the next minute.
So when we talk about making a portfolio, and so Swami sir added that portfolio making is an important task today. I'd like to say that IISc as well as the IBC is working along with the CBSE from the initial stage to make the portfolio. As you rightly mentioned, hands-holding the child. So as schools, what we need to do is my humble request to all the education institutions is do not leave it to be trusted upon the child, rather hands-hold. Second thing is, even companies like Infosys, after appointing a particular employee, they send them for at least 6 months of training. Why is that necessary? That is because they gain the knowledge, but they fail to acquire the skill competencies. So that is what is important. As schools and institutions, strike a perfect balance between skills and knowledge set. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. That the portfolio building has to start from the school itself. Over to you, Ms. Patricia, for a minute for adding her thought. You can unmute yourself.
As school leaders, I think I want to encourage all of us to help the students and the people we work with. Some of them have skills that we can see, we can identify. We should be able to lead them to develop these skills. We should embed skill training in schools, in our curricula, so that right from the get-go, we are building and we are teaching them that this skill is outside of theory. So you should be able to document it. We should help them to identify skills that are embedded in who they are. And then we should educate parents to also encourage them to build these skills for our learners. Otherwise, parents are only focusing on theories, but they don't really know what is happening in the job market. So we should educate our parents, the employees we work with, and the learners themselves, and help them to build this portfolio. So that at the end of the day, our schools will stand out, our employees will stand out, and parents would also be grateful for what we have done for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Patricia. And yes, all the stakeholders have to be engaged. They have to be educated. The awareness level has to be increased so that they know that the world is evolving at a pace that we haven't seen any time in history. So over to Mr. Abhishek for his 1 minute, and then over to Ms. Andrea. Mr. Abhishek, over to you.
I'll just take 30 seconds. What I basically say that I align with the thought that schools should be having the skill education. But apart from that, we should not be relying only to one source. There are lots of MOOCs which are available, massive open online courses which are self-paced. And this gives actually not only restricted topics. It opens various dimensions where you can learn n number of things at your own pace. I would suggest that students should go to the online platform, look for the MOOCs courses which are actually aligning with their thought process, which can actually tell them what is going on around the world. And these courses are also available right from 30 minutes to 3 hours or to some 70, 72 hours also.
Absolutely. The learning is no more captured within walls. It's there available if you have the time, if you put in the research, if you put in that attention to find what, clicks for you, and then click on it and get onto a course, because that could add a lot to you. So over to Ms. Andrea for her thoughts before we move ahead. Ms. Andrea, please unmute yourself.
So 30 seconds. Learning doesn't really belong to the most qualified anymore. It belongs to the most capable. And this is where the skills need to be embedded and implemented in our education. It's not an isolation, right? It's embedding it into our education and bringing it to life in schools. And it should start from early years. So I will disagree with the person that said primary or teenage, early years, because the foundation is early years. So developing those skills right from the little ones and reinforcing and consolidating and building upon what they've learned will develop them into capable learners and adults, right? But also bringing in community engagement and learning, because the real world is all about interactions. It's that Ubuntu spirit, collaborations. How are we bringing and developing that kind of mindset in our students that are empathetic and caring, compassionate and principled, and all that? So yes, go ahead and get your degrees, but at the same time, bring it in and integrate it with the skills, right? And also embrace the community and service your community to the world.
Thank you so much, Ms. Andrea. And I think the mindset shift has to be there. If it has to start from the early years, we should stop celebrating what we have learned. We should start celebrating what we have done. Let's start celebrating things that we really do around us, rather than just that report card that might come at the end of the semester or at the end of the year, that this is how much you have learned, this is how much you have stored. It should rather say, this is what I've done, this is what I've accomplished. When you start looking for different factors for your sense of achievement, the mindset will automatically change. The blend of a portfolio and degree will automatically come in each personality. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think Vaiga wants to add something. Vaiga, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to ask a question instead of adding on. The question that I would want to ask is, when the world is suddenly shifting from its traditional method of degrees to now also accommodating a portfolio, many people are resorting to getting a portfolio, a very strong CV at that, from ChatGPT or AI resources. So, is it not making employed liabilities and unemployed assets? And also, as it's been told in the talks until now, that online education can be done. But is someone who has undergone online education that reliable in a real life scenario? Can he or she be put to task when something is upfront in front of them? These are the two questions that I would want to put forth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vaiga, for this question. I think we have had so many interactions at the World Teen Parliament just on this very point. At this moment, when you see so many people here, a lot of them would have used some or the other AI bot. The thing that people are not realizing at this moment is, how do humans define freedom? Is freedom something tangible? Freedom is something intangible. It's just something that it's a perception. You perceive freedom. You don't know what's freedom. So when you go and talk to a chatbot to create your portfolio, to take content for your speech, you yourself are surrendering your freedom to that piece of technology. Because what you think right now is not your thought. You don't know whether what you think is based on propaganda, is it based on information, is it based on something that has been fed to you. If you really want to be liberated and if you really want to grow as a human being, use it, but you should know when to stop, when it kills your perception. Don't sacrifice your freedom for ease of doing work. Since it's assisting you, don't just sacrifice your intellectual freedom for it. And you're very right, it will and it is creating a lot of problems in the hiring space. One of the major reasons that now portfolios are considered important is because everything can be faked. So until and unless an employer does not see that you have accomplished something, they don't want to take the risk. And this makes the chances of a fresh undergraduate really bleak to get into an amazing job. This is hard luck, shaping right in front of your own eyes. And this is not something that a human being or an individual can change. This is something that needs a far wide intervention. I don't know by how many educationists to really make this change. And, your question is very right. Can we really trust somebody who has learned stuff online? I think we can. It depends on what have they done, rather than what have they learned. Their credential won't prove it. Only they have to do it and show it to the world that, yes, I can do this. Only then people will trust. And that's why, even employers look for proof. I think Mr. Julius wants to add something. Over to you for the next minute, and then we'll move to the conclusion of the session. Mr. Julius, over to you. Please unmute yourself.
All right. Thank you for the time. I just want to lend my voice to the fact that degree is an opportunity to learn, possess knowledge. But that is not the demand of the world right now. The demand of the world right now is the application of the knowledge. How much of the knowledge you have learned, how much of that learning can you translate to a concrete or tangible thing? If you have learned A, have you created that A? If you have created that A, are you showcasing that A? Because that's the only thing that can attract opportunities. it is not enough that one has the knowledge. An individual, a student, whoever you may be, must transcend that knowledge to really put in that knowledge to good use. And I hope that the young ones in our midst will learn this, because it's important to know that our word now, the work of your hand speaks louder than your certificates. It speaks louder than your certificate. So it's important that you build a skill, gain experience, and there are opportunities for you to do all of this by either volunteering, getting into internship, or even starting up a project yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Julius. The world around us is changing at a pace that we have never experienced. For the first time in Homo sapien history, there's going to be a time on Earth when there will be a more intelligent being on the face of this planet than a human being. Are we ready for those times? Let me just quote a simple, statement that was made by the World Bank president. Now, why am I quoting the World Bank president? Because World Bank is one of those institutions that relies on predicting the future. The more accurate prediction they do, the more stable economies the world sees. They spend billions of dollars just on researching and finding out how the future will look like. And you know what's the latest challenge that they've put forth in front of everyone? And I think this is where the topic should really conclude. This is the food for thought that you should all take when this session comes to an end. What's the problem statement that the World Bank is right now looking at? Within the next decade, in the next 10 years, the world will have 1.2 billion job seekers. I hope you remember this. In the next 10 years, the world will have 1.2 billion job seekers. And we will only have 400 million jobs. So what's going to happen? That's up to you to think and up to you to make. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of the Blub World Web Talks. This was the 282nd episode. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, put your both hands up in the air and wave it like this so that we know that you enjoyed it and you want to be a part of the conversation next time. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Namaste. Have a good day, good afternoon, or a good evening from whichever part of the world you have joined us. Thank you so much, everyone. It was lovely interacting with you. Such amazing thoughts. Thank you, people. Bye-bye.